Where? Jerusalem. Oh, stones. It's instead of flowers. We don't put flowers, we put stones. Okay, pilgrims, friends. When you finish your photographing, can we stand in the corner so we would not be on the way? And we'll do a little spiel here, a little orientation. I must admit that those earphones are good in the situations like that when there's lots of people. It's really comfortable. Okay. What you are looking at, what you're witnessing now, is the oldest church building in the Christendom. This is the oldest church building that is continuously standing here from the end of the 5th century, about roughly 500 years after Christ. Around 500 years after Christ. Let me remind you a little bit of our history or our chronology from yesterday. We were at Masada and we talked about the destruction of the Jewish attempt of independence and the Roman rule as a result of the destruction of Masada at 70 AD in the 1st century AD. The Romans continued to rule here, but 200 years after, they became Christians. You would remember a Roman emperor named Constantine, okay? And he was the one, and we connect with his name, the fact that he converted, not only he converted himself, but he converted the entire kingdom, the empire, into the Christian empire. It became a Christian empire as a result of that. And what he did, he moved the capital city from Rome into a small town on the Asian side of the Mediterranean Sea, a little town called Byzantium. A small town of Byzantium that was very good located and controlled the channel that connected the Mediterranean Sea with the Black Sea, the area called Bosphorus and Dardanelles. Okay, and so the emperor moved his capital city to be closer to the Roman provinces, like us, for example. Okay, and he renamed the city of Byzantium into Constantinople. And you're familiar with this town that still exists today under a different name, because when Constantinople was conquered by the Turks in 1450s, in the middle of the 15th century, the Turks, the Ottoman Turks, renamed it into Istanbul, and that's how the name that it carries until today. Okay, so we became part of the Eastern Roman Empire with the capital city in Constantinople in those days. And about 200 years after Constantine, the Byzantine Roman Empire became very, very strong, very powerful. And because they became wealthy and powerful, they started to build churches, more and more churches. And that's the church that you can see that was built by one of the Roman Byzantine Christian emperors named Justinian. Most of the churches that were built earlier by Constantine or his mother Helen were destroyed at this time or another before Justinian. Most of the destructions came when we were invaded by the Persians in the year 624. And it doesn't, I don't have to remember that, but we were at a certain period invaded by the Persians for a short time. And they destroyed all the churches. Now, remember who were the Persians before they became Muslims? They were, no, Persians were, they're Persians. It's just their religion was Zoroastrian. They worshipped fire, okay? And then they became Muslims.
was the spread of the Muslim religion. And we don't know why this particular church was not destroyed, but they say maybe because on the entry they saw the figures of the wise men. Remember where the wise men came from? They're from the east. Maybe they resembled something familiar to the Persians, and so they did not destroy the church, and the church continued to function. And not that long ago, but about 2 decades ago, they found those mosaics on the walls and on the floor that will go back to the days of Justinian, which is about 500 years after Christ.
And that makes this church the sort of the oldest the oldest functional church building in the world. Because other buildings were destroyed, rebuilt. This one wasn't. And so, from this point of view, it's interesting as an oldest church in Christendom that is still functioning, the Church of the Nativity. And what you see right now is the Greek section. We will pass by the Armenian section right now and go to the Catholic section. That's where I continue our little talk.